It's wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
It is a Wednesday. It is a beautiful day to be talking about Arkansas basketball right now here on Halftime. We will talk some Arkansas football as well. I don't know if it's a beautiful day to be talking about that, but we will be doing it. And Phil Elson here, Ty Richardson in the ESPN Arkansas studios. I am doing a remote broadcast today rather than sitting next to my friend, where we crushed a total of 18 street tacos yesterday, thanks to our friends at La Huerta. Ty's already knee-deep into the leftover tacos from yesterday.
I ate 4 before 9 o'clock.
Wow. So it was breakfast today. That means it'll be lunch and dinner, too. I mean, hey, there was enough to feed an entire basketball team over there at the ESPN Arkansas studios. I'm in Springdale. Ty and I were sitting next to each other up at Bud Walton Arena last night for a thrilling debut for Eric Musselman's Arkansas Razorbacks. And I just went looking in my computer bag here, Ty, because it is Wednesday, and you know what that means in 58 minutes. What do we get to do?
Crumple the notes from the previous box score.
This box score of Arkansas's 54-24 loss to Mississippi State will become another one that gets crumpled up, thrown in the garbage, and forgotten about until maybe never forgotten about, to be quite honest. And we'll move on to the Western Kentucky game. It'll be plenty of Arkansas basketball and football talk throughout the afternoon. Of course, the college football playoff poll made its debut yesterday. That'll give us plenty to talk about, both with Clay Henry and Bill King, who join us later on in this show. So what to get to first? Well, 91-43, Arkansas gets the win. I always like to see a team that has a larger margin of victory than points allowed in a game. And I'll say this, Rice doesn't look like a very good team, but Arkansas definitely looked like a pretty darn good team yesterday. And Ty, if we're going to say, if you were to use one word to describe what you saw yesterday, what would yours be? Mine would be energy, and that was on both sides of the floor. That was up in the stands. I even felt some energy in the press area amongst people that were just happy to be covering something other than Arkansas football. For me, the word is energy. What did you see? What one word would you use?
What about relief, not only from the members of the media in Arkansas press box realizing they weren't going to have to watch a game where Arkansas loses by 40, but they were going to win by a pretty drastic amount. And I think the fans, there was a ton of students that came in early last night. Eric Musselman, before the game, went outside, was getting the students hype up for the game, as well as the rest of the fans. I mean, there were 2 separate occasions where he got out to almost center court and was pumping the crowd up, which was pretty awesome to see. So I think just a sigh of relief, because this football season, like it was last year, has been so bad, so disappointing, so frustrating, that even the slightest bit of confidence, of relief that you can get from this basketball team will go such a long way for the Arkansas fan base as a whole.
Well, and Aaron in Clarksville, who just texted in on the Cherokee Casino hotline, agrees with you. He says the first word he thought of is relief. B.E. from Clarksville said excitement. I think those definitely go into it. How terrible, though, do you have to think about the idea that in an exciting atmosphere, your first basketball game of the season, you see Mason Jones put up a career-high 30, Isaiah Joe throwing down a left-handed thunder dunk, 3-pointers made by Jalen Harris, and yet the word you come up with is relief, which more than anything gives you a window into what Arkansas sports fans have been dealing with in a football sense, which obviously takes over your mindset for these last couple of months. When relief is the one word, it really gives you a window into just how dragged down this fan base feels right now. But let's get into what we saw yesterday. And it was a team that, first of all, by the way, we were correct on our guess on our own over-under on how many three-point shots Arkansas would attempt. What did we put our over-under at?
29 and a half.
29 and a half.
Correct.
They attempted 25 three-pointers and made 10 of them. Isaiah Joe and Mason Jones both with 4 three-point makes. Let's talk about the team overall before we get into the individuals. And this looks like a team right now, Ty, that is coached to play with a lot of energy, contest everything you possibly can on the court. Everybody go after the rebound if possible. And I was really impressed with Arkansas's defense because Rice didn't really have a lot of open room to operate their offense one bit, and I think that is reflected in the fact that they shot for the entire ball game 28.6%, 2 of 25 from long range. I thought Arkansas's defense yesterday might have been even more impressive than the 91 points that they scored.
Yeah, they were doing things on both ends of the court. I know that I was talking with Scotty Bordelon of Whole Hog Sports after the game, and he pointed to the fact, looking at Kim Palm, that's the highest defensive rating that Eric Musselman has ever had with a college team as a head coach, and that was pretty crazy. And then you look at the offensive end. Kevin McPherson brought this to our attention after the game, Phil. When you look at last year's box scores, it was either Mason Jones or Isaiah Joe most of the time that were going off, but not together. Both those guys went off last night. If you can have that, it's not going to happen every game this season, but if you can have that every once in a while, that's going to be a huge bonus for this basketball team moving forward.
Well, and what about the idea that they rebounded really well? You know, they did play against a team that has somewhat of the same size that Arkansas has, and I don't think that'll be the case very often. But, you know, when Reggie Chaney gets suspended, and Chaney is your tallest player, and certainly looks like he could be, I don't know if most physical is the right word, but he should be the best rebounder on this team because of his length, his size, and strength. He's unavailable, indefinitely suspended for a violation of team rules, though he will be back, and I'm assuming he'll be back sooner rather than later. But to lose who should be your best rebounder, and also at the same time get word that Connor Vanover won't be available for the entire season. The NCAA did finally rule in his waiver request, and they gave it a thumbs down, that Arkansas goes out and doesn't just out-rebound Rice. I mean, they crushed them. 45 rebounds to 27 rebounds. I'd be surprised if you see Arkansas out-rebound another opponent by that wide of a margin all year. But when you rebound with energy, maybe this is a team that can rebound a little bit better than their size overall shows that they should.
So let's talk about Connor Vanover's ruling by the NCAA. I was in the car and I got the email from Mike Kaywood. I'm trying to scramble, put it up on our social media accounts. I actually almost got in a wreck. Probably shouldn't be doing that while I'm on the road, Phil. But here's what Eric Musselman had to say after the game concerning Connor Vanover not getting cleared by the NCAA.
I don't agree with Connor. I'll go on record and say that I think Connor's got a good case, and it's unfortunate. I'll leave it at that. Sorry, Kevin.
So, Phil, he was very adamant, and actually Kevin McPherson started to ask him a question, and he's like, well, hold on. And because someone had asked him about Connor, and he went back to that. So you could tell he was frustrated, but the good thing is that team was able to blow out Rice in spite of the fact that they got 2 dosage of bad news. The Reggie Chaney suspension, which they apparently knew about a little beforehand, but they were just alerted to the media and confirmed to the media, and then the Connor Vanover thing, which was confirmed to the media as well.
So now you know. Now it's understood. You're going to be one of the shortest teams in the country. Can we get onto Mason Jones here for a moment? Even if you strip away the fact that he scored a career-high 32, made 12 of 18 shots, grabbed 7 rebounds, recorded 5 steals. If you were just looking at Mason Jones, he looks like a different person than he looked like last year in a very good way. I know he was a little heavy in high school, and that's one of the reasons he was under-recruited and ended up going to JUCO. But this guy looks cut. And in the post-game comments on the radio broadcast with Chuck Barrett, Mason quoted that it's not just him, it's the entire team that is extremely well-conditioned. Mason Jones dunking, I think, is one surprise. Even for him, he looks like a much stronger, slimmer, and faster player than the one that you had last year.
Him and Joe said after the game, expect more dunks the rest of the way because you didn't see that much this season. And to your point, Phil, the Breakfast Club that they referred to, 6 a.m. shooting workouts, you definitely get some more conditioning in there as well. And Jalen Harris has been a part of that, and it's been evident these first couple games this season.
Halftime brought to you by Breeden RV and Power Sports in Van Buren, where the year-end clearance sale continues with great deals on new RVs, travel trailers at $99.95, fifth wheels under $30,000, and of course all new customers at Breeden RV and Power Sports get maintenance for life for free. That's Breeden RVs in Van Buren. BreedenRVs.com for more information. Be a part of the show. Cherokee Casino hotline is 877-377-6963. We want to hear from you. It's halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
The lines are getting ridiculous in the bathroom. And, people who don't want to spend money on water, they go in and refill their cups inside of the sink. And it's tap water.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help out the people out there.
I'm not refilling my water bottle in the bathroom sink at the stadium. I'm sorry. No.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
It's time to plan the Christmas party for your business or family, and the place to make it a special and memorable time is at Doe's Eat Place in Fort Smith. Award-winning steaks and atmosphere, along with the largest wine selection in the River Valley, await your memorable evening. If you're thinking about what to get that hard-to-impress boss or family member, gift certificates from Doe's are sure to impress and bring a smile to their face. Don't delay making your reservations. Call Doe's Eat Place at 784-9111. That's 784-9111. Doe's Eat Place, 422 3rd Street. Open 5 till 9, Monday through Thursday, and 5 till 10, Friday and Saturday.
Want to have more than your average home? D&D Flooring is a simple choice. You can choose to have excellent customer service and design assistance with D&D Flooring. Wood, vinyl, carpet, to beautiful window treatments, professional installation every time. 0 financing options available. Come see D&D Flooring large showroom and selections. D&D Flooring, serving the River Valley and surrounding areas. 1323 Main Street, Van Buren, or call 474-0533.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith reminds motorists that texting can be more than a minor distraction. Text messaging has been linked to serious accidents, including a train crash that killed 25 people and a trolley crash that injured nearly 50 people. In both instances, drivers were texting seconds before the crash. Keep your eyes on the road and stay alive. This message is from Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith, reminding everyone, don't tempt fate, that text can wait.
Looking to upgrade your fleet or needing professional service to your existing fleet? Carco International of Fort Smith offers the latest trucks and equipment in the industry. With over 70 years in the trucking and equipment business, they have the experience to keep you on the road. Carco International offers professional service after the sale. Carco International Parts Department supplies all makes, parts, and gives expert service. Carco International is the answer. Leave it to the pros to keep you on the road. Carco International, located at 2721 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith.
Thank goodness that the fall season is upon us. And with this special time of year comes football, cooler weather, changing leaves, and free internet and phone service from Pinnacle Telecom. That's right. Switch your phone and internet service over to Pinnacle Telecom and get your first month free. Take advantage of Pinnacle Telecom's fast fiber internet and or hosted telephone service, and your first month's bill is on us. So let Pinnacle Telecom make your fall even better with this one-of-a-kind first month free promotion. Pinnacle Telecom, tomorrow's technology today.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Play fake, gonna throw a fade, left side, knocks at the goal line, complete, touchdown Arkansas! Trey Knox, 24 yards, and just like that, the Hogs are in the end zone.
877-377-6963. That's the Cherokee Casino hotline. Call it or text it and be a part of our show. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson here with you on Halftime. Chris and Greenwood told us that because about 45 minutes I'm taking this box score of Arkansas's blowout loss at homecoming to Mississippi State, and I'm going to crumple it up. If I wasn't inside Zach Arns' office, our friend who co-hosts Ruskin and Zach, I would maybe set this thing on fire in a garbage can. But I'm not going to do that to him because he's got a nice office, and I don't want to burn this nice building down. But I feel like this would be a good one to burn. Chris in Greenwood says that if Arkansas does win a game this year, we might want to frame that box score instead of crumple it up and throw it away on Wednesday. So what do you say, Ty? If Arkansas beats Western Kentucky on Saturday, should we have that thing bronzed and framed? Goodness, just even think about wanting to frame a box score from a win against Western freaking Kentucky. Tells you what's going on.
Put it up in studio, make sure we can draw a lot of attention to it. I was just thinking about, as the rejoin comes in, do I already switch up to basketball rejoins? Is it that early?
I think you do.
I
think you do. With what you saw yesterday, Chuck had a great call on Isaiah Joe's left-handed slam.
Oh, did he?
That would be one to go to. That was his post-game. That was the post-game call that they had on the highlights.
Okay.
So I would find that thing, tee it up, and you'll be playing it for at least the rest of the basketball season. So it's crossover season, right? That means if you've got different teams playing on the same campus, then sports shows that talk about those teams can also have their own crossover, and they can have some different rejoins.
We had American Football Day yesterday, and now it's basketball day. You had some couple big-time college basketball games in Madison Square Garden last night. Duke outlived Kansas. They beat them by 2 or 3. And then Kentucky beat #1 Michigan State. There was a lot of good college basketball on last night, Phil.
How about Alabama losing Nate Oates' first game as the Crimson Tide head basketball coach at home to Penn? I know Penn's supposed to be pretty good, but still 81-80, the only SEC team that lost. So you know what I'm excited about? Later on we have Bill King, and Bill is probably at the front of the line of those who are in the knowledge of college football and despise the college football playoff committee. He is not a fan of that. He would rather go back to the BCS, and it'll be fun to talk to him about these rankings that came out yesterday, because I think he'll tear them up. Although I did see he said he didn't have any problem with the rankings that went 1 through 3. But he would have put Clemson over Penn State. So Ohio State, LSU, Alabama, Penn State, 1 through 4. Clemson, Georgia, Oregon, Utah, Oklahoma, Florida round out the top 10. You know what this looks like to me right now, Ty? This looks like the playoff committee is already setting up extra playoff games during the regular season, because Ohio State and Penn State play in, 2 weeks. LSU and Alabama is this week. I don't know if those will be elimination games, but that's why I look at Clemson being ranked 5th. And while I'm sure Tigers fans are up in paws about it, Clemson essentially is already in the top 4, because whoever loses between LSU and Alabama, to me, falls behind Clemson, as long as Clemson keeps up their end of the bargain and does what they should to everybody else that's left on their schedule. I see the same thing with Ohio State and Penn State, and you can even go further down the standings where we would assume, you do have about, 4 weeks left, so anything can happen, but Oregon and Utah should match up in the Pac-12 championship game, and maybe, whatever happens throughout the next few weeks with Clemson and Georgia, that maybe that could be almost like an elimination game too. I feel like the playoff committee, Ty, wanted to set up an extra round of playoffs. They just don't have the will to do it after the season is over.
I don't mind Ohio State at 1, and I don't mind LSU at 2, and Bama at 3, and Penn State at 4. Clemson, to me, just hasn't played anybody this year. Georgia at 6, losing to South Carolina at home. I know you have wins against both Notre Dame and Florida, but I just hate that they're there at 6. My dad and my buddy Alex, who are both big-time Baylor fans, are pretty frustrated that Baylor, undefeated so far this season, is at 12. They've beaten Oklahoma State, they've beaten Kansas State, and that's, I think, a little far down the list. Oklahoma lost at home, not at home. They lost in Manhattan to Kansas State, and Baylor's beaten Kansas State. They'll play again in 2 weeks, a game I get to go to. Oregon, Utah, we're going to see what happens there if the Pac-12 can get someone back in the college football playoff. But I'm like Bill. So I disagree with Bill, and I agree with Bill. Bill, who we're going to talk with in hour number 2 at 1:30, he hates the college football playoff for 2 reasons. 1, he didn't like the addition of an extra game because he felt like that or an extra 2 games if you look at it like that, because he felt like it hurt the regular season in college football, which I don't agree with. But here's where I do agree with him. The College Football Playoff Committee is comprised of a select group of members that ultimately decide who deserves to be there. The BCS is a non-biased formula calculated with a number of different theories, algorithms, and all that crap that I can't go into detail on because I don't know. But it wasn't the human element. It was just a computer that put in the best teams what seemed like year after year. If they used that for the college football playoff, Phil, and changed it to 4 teams instead of 2, I would be much happier. That's where Bill and I agree on that part of the equation.
Was there now I don't remember all of the formulations that the BCS used, and I know it got tweaked here and there over the course of its life, but didn't the BCS also take the polls into account?
Correct.
So there was a little bit of the human element, but not nearly as much as when you're dealing with a room full of real human beings.
I believe it was the AP poll that they took into account. Again, it's been so long. It seems like a lifetime ago, but it's I think it was 2013. Yeah, 2013, Oregon-Auburn was the last time we had a BCS national championship, and every year since then, it's been the college football playoff by teams that are put in by the College Football Playoff Committee. When you get the egos, I think the Oregon AD is the head of the College Football Playoff, and I know he's got to be taken out of the room when they talk about Oregon and stuff, but there are so many different people in that room that have different agendas for certain teams, certain conferences. I don't understand how that could be fair and equitable to teams in college football, Phil.
Brett in Spiro said he's our resident Oklahoma Sooner fan. That he first of all, he's predicting OU to win by 21 this weekend, and says he's super excited for the fact that both Oklahoma State, who he calls Okie Light, and Baylor are still on the schedule. He thinks OU still has a chance if they win out. He might be right about that, but there's a lot to climb over, and it might work out in their favor because of the fact that so many of these teams that are ranked in the top 10 will be playing each other now. I mean, that's why it feels like there's an extra round of playoffs. Ohio State, Penn State, now that doesn't decide who comes out of the Big Ten, but that game might decide if a team comes out of the Big Ten. LSU, Alabama, you could make a case that both of those teams could end up in the playoff nonetheless because of the cachet that they come with. Oregon, Utah, that to me could be a possible elimination game. What do you think about the playoff committee and the rankings that came out? 877-377-6963 is our Cherokee Casino hotline you can get with us. William in Jonesboro reminds us that the last ever BCS champion was Florida State, beating Auburn with Jameis Winston as the quarterback. And Greg in Mulberry talking about.
Did I say Auburn, Oregon, or did I say Auburn or Florida State?
I don't remember what you said at that point. He must have heard you say Oregon.
Okay.
Greg in Mulberry says that last night basketball gave him some hope. He said it's funny to see. He says how short Coach M is to these guys. Drops an LOL on us, and then he doesn't sit down. He's pumped and gives a WPS. So I know we were talking football for a moment there, but I think Greg just changed our topic of conversation. Let's talk about Eric Musselman's energy, which there's so much of it. I feel like it's coming out of his ears. I have never seen a coach get that amped during a timeout to whip the crowd into a frenzy. Now, I didn't see it happening because I was following Mason Jones, who was doing the same thing over by the bench right after a timeout of the first half. But then at not near the scorer's table was Muss, and he is going crazy. So, I mean, I know there were a lot of fans that criticized Mike Anderson for not showing fire during games, not looking like a fiery kind of a coach or very animated. I think these are fans that are going to be buying into Eric Musselman just based upon maybe nothing else other than the energy that he shows during games.
I mean, this is a guy that's ripped off his shirt, taken off his shirt, had his wife write Mountain West Conference champs on his stomach. I'm curious. I meant to ask him in the press conference last night because he was talking about himself being an emotional guy. What type of win is going to lead for that to happen at Arkansas? Is it a win at Kentucky? Is it an NCAA tournament berth? What's the first occurrence here in Fayetteville that gets him to rip his shirt off in Bud Walton Arena?
Well, you might be the guy who runs onto the court to sign your name on his chest, I think, Ty. So be careful. Don't let your emotions run wild the way that they might run wild from Eric Musselman. Halftime brought to you by The Fence Man. If you own a business that needs more security or just needs more curb appeal, a new fence from The Fence Man can give you both. The Fence Man specializes in custom installations. They know what they're doing. They've been doing it for over 40 years. They do gates. They do controlled access card readers. Call The Fence Man. They'll be there for a quick, no obligations quote. Call Henry at The Fence Man, 479-782-3936. The Fence Man is a division of Quantum Property Services. Quick break coming up here on Halftime. We'll be joined by the one and only Clay Henry from Hogs Illustrated. We'll dive into mostly football with Clay, a little basketball too, so stay tuned on Halftime.
A show that lives up to the hype. You're listening to Halftime.
Great camping weather is just around the corner, so at Breeden RV in Van Buren, we're having our year-end clearance sale right now. Get great deals on new RVs like travel trailers that start at $99.95 and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives our new customers maintenance for life for free. We also have a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Now is the time to camp, and now is the time to let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you just how easy it can be. Breeden RV, your home for maintenance for life.
Oh, that's an RV.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half price. And all beers on tap are half price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative is excited to introduce Wave Rural Connect. They're bringing state-of-the-art high-speed fiber internet plus TV and phone services right into the homes of all members. If you're an Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative member, go to waveruralconnect.com to sign up. That's waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Hello, would you like me to find workout classes near you?
There are no stores that sell glasses within 10 miles of your location.
There's enough artificial in the world. That's why Michelob Ultra is brewed with no artificial colors or flavors. With just 95 calories and 2.6 carbs, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. 2019 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 grams carbs, 0.6 grams protein, and 0.0 grams fat for 12 ounces.
Make a hot spring spa part of your day-to-day routine now and discover what it means to get more out of each day. Hi, Tommy Kraft for our good friends at Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale. Burton's is having an instant rebate event where you get $1,000 in instant rebate with the purchase of select hot springs models. Burton Pools and Spas is at 6121 Zero Street in Fort Smith and 725 South 48th Street in Springdale. Just imagine being able to come home from a hard day at work and to slip into your own hot spring spa from Burton Pools and Spas and let the stress of everyday life just slip away. And you're going to be totally impressed with all the features and options that are available on a hot spring spa. See it for yourself in Fort Smith or in Springdale and find out more about how you can get a $1,000 instant rebate with a purchase of a select hot spring spa today. That's Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale, or find out more online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Football's out. Razorbacks have picked it up. We're headed back the other way. Picked up by Cam Curl. He's still got the football. Curl's all the way. He's going to the house. Touchdown, Arkansas.
Talking here with Clay Henry on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Clay, the publisher of Hogs Illustrated. You can find his columns there and also at Whole Hog Sports. Clay, good to talk with you on a Wednesday. What's going on?
What's going on, fellas? Doing well.
Well, we had
watching it rain.
Watching it rain. At least we're not feeling it rain.
That's true.
We were trying to come up with one word to describe what you saw from Arkansas basketball yesterday. And me and Ty were both in the building, so I felt energy. That was my word. Ty used the word relief, which, contrasts basketball versus football pretty easily. A couple other texters came in with the word excitement. So if you were to describe one word that tells you what you saw from Arkansas's win over Rice yesterday, or maybe the basketball program overall just after one game, what would that word be?
I think I'd say improvement. I think I'd say the things that you saw were all what was projected, that they would be well versed in game plans, understand scouting reports. They would be able to predict what the other team was going to do because of preparation. You've heard all of that about how intense they prepare and scout, and I think you saw that it's that they were in Rice's hip pocket every move. There was nothing that surprised. There was nothing that showed a lack of preparation or coaching, I guess. So coached would be another word that you could throw out there. I mean, I talked to some people last night that saw little glimpses of kind of Eddie Sutton's system. They were like, they played a lot faster than Eddie did. But you have to remember, the Arkansas fans really didn't see Eddie later in his career when he was playing with the shot clock and the three-point line at Oklahoma State. They played that style of basketball, pretty much. I saw some things that were concerning, the lack of height, and that will definitely play, come into play in a bad way when they get into SEC games. When other teams are so big and bad in the post that they're just going to play behind you, and it's like, you can throw it in the post, we're just going to block all your shots. So now they will get Reggie Chaney back at some point, don't know when. Anyway, you asked me for one word, and I gave you about 4 minutes, right?
Well, it mirrors some of your columns, man. You get a chance to flesh out your thoughts a little bit, so I appreciate that. But I wanted to ask you before I do it. You had told me what you thought the team looked like with, I thought, a pretty interesting comparison before we got on the air here. Would it be all right to use that?
Yeah, I was going to throw. I didn't start with that because you said one word.
Right.
And coached would be probably it. And I would say they were like red ants. They of course they wore white, but the school color is red, and ants are red, and ants just they just kind of attack you from all different directions and sting you and make your life miserable, and you can shoot it from anywhere. That's kind of
a colony of angry red ants can take down a larger insect, which I think also gets at some of the point of what we're talking about with this team's lack of height.
And you can never get rid of them. I mean, you never put them away.
And the bites last forever, and the welts are large. Oh, I hate getting bitten by red ants.
Yeah. So anyway, that was just one of my takeaways. And they can shoot, and they've. I thought, when I watched Jalen Harris, that he would eventually figure out the shooting part of it, and it looks like he has. And that's a major difference when when you've got multiple guys that can shoot threes. I think Jimmy Witt can. He didn't seem like he wanted to. He seemed like he let the other guys do their thing and stay out of the way, so to speak, facilitate and keep the ball moving, and just almost like he wasn't out there, but he was. And he was the link guy. When they would have 2 or 3 passes to set up a shot, he was in the middle of those passes. I liked Musselman's comments about how many passes he likes to see in a game, and they were way over that. And now remember, this is Rice, and it was just what I remembered from Rice. Just they weren't very good, and that's a good way to start it off, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think a drubbing of 40-plus points is an absolutely good way to do that. We're speaking with Clay Henry, the publisher of Hogs Illustrated, on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Clay, we talked about some of the improvement of Mason Jones. Jalen Harris looks like he could finally shoot this year. Desi Stills just looks like a thicker basketball player. Is there a guy on this roster that stands out to you that looks a ton more improved than he was last year?
Well, they all look, like they've done what they were supposed to in their skill development, but what I wanted to see the most, and I think Isaiah Joe is a rare talent, and he has been reluctant to do anything but just ball fake and move 3 feet and launch it. And the little move on the baseline for the dunk, I mean, that is a significant development in his game if he can continue to do that, because people have to come after, the closeouts, they've got to come after him. And if you just take a dribble and, move one step to the right, well, there may be another guy, but if you take it to the rack and can either lay it up or dunk it, and he's got the size and length to be a real, I guess, threat inside, not just shooting, but getting to the rim. That's the development that makes him an all-conference player.
All right, Clay, I want to ask you one last question pertaining not to basketball but to football. We know homecoming for Ty Story, Charleston kid coming back to Fayetteville this weekend. How motivated do you anticipate him to be on Saturday afternoon?
Well, he doesn't care about this game. He had, he was pointing to UCA, in my opinion. This is not the game that he really wanted. No, I'm just joking. It's just like, I think it could be a problem. I think for him, I think he can be so hyped up that it affects his performance. And I mentioned Eddie Sutton. He always talked about the magic level. You don't want to be low, but you don't want to be too high. You've got to get it to the level that helps your competitiveness, and but it doesn't take you out of your element to think. And that's what he's got to be careful for. Boy, he's a great kid, and you'd like Arkansas to win, but him not be embarrassed, I guess, is my thought. And he's the other team. You get it, but it's I pulled for him all year long because it didn't seem right all that happened to him. I mean, it's like the team around him wasn't very good. And, he still competed. I'll never forget looking at his uniform when he came off the field at Auburn last year, and it was, white uniform, but it might as well have been painted green because it had grass stain and blood stain, green everywhere. That will be always my memory of him, that he fought, for every inch and did what he could. And, I think people will clap for him, but they'll be cheering for the Razorbacks.
Clay, we got about a minute left here. So you got the change of quarterback. John Stephen Jones, KJ Jefferson will play. Do you think that the change in quarterback, it's different than the change going from Ben Hicks to Nick Starkland, vice versa? Can this give possibly a spark to the team to where they play better than the sum of their parts, perhaps?
Well, they can do things that would invigorate the offense because they both can run. And that's what this offense calls for. It's a spread, and if your quarterback doesn't run, then it really puts a lot of pressure on your one back. I think it will help the offensive line, and it will help Boyd and Whaley, I guess. So yeah, it could do that. I don't expect either one of them to be great in the passing game, but if they can be dynamic and give them another running threat, boy, that's painful for a defensive coordinator to try to figure out where that ball's going in the run game. And that will, if they're able to run it, then that means they don't have to pass protect as much, and that's the weakness of this team.
Okay, we'll leave it there. And we'll be reading you in Whole Hog and Hogs Illustrated. Talk about it next week. Clay Henry, thanks so much.
Got it. Thanks, guys. Enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Clay Henry. Visiting with us every Wednesday. Right now talking a little more basketball than we talked football. And to be quite honest, Ty Richardson, I'm okay if that is the case.
Yeah, I think.
Give us a follow on Twitter. We got Ty's at Ty Sports Radio. I'm at Phil Elson PXP. If you want to be part of the station, you can do it at Hit That Line on Twitter. Stay tuned. Halftime continues. We're moving on to Arkansas basketball recruiting. Could it be a huge month for Eric Musselman? Stay tuned. Be right back.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime.
Full-time farmers, hobby farmers, and landowners, your time is important. Make the most out of that time with a brand new Branson tractor from Bush Machine & Tractor in Fort Smith. With tractors from 19 to 105 horsepower, we have a tractor that will fit your needs. Ask Bush Machine & Tractor about their special financing options and free loader rebates. Bush Machine & Tractor in Fort Smith is Arkansas's #1 Branson dealer. Check their inventory at bushtractor.com.
Eagle Crest Golf Course is open, and winter rates are now in effect. Just $35 to enjoy Eagle Crest Golf Course, card included. Winter rates are back, and Eagle Crest is ready for you. Lush zoysia fairways, beautiful bent grass greens, and the best views in the River Valley. Just $35, card included. So get your golf buddies together and head to Eagle Crest Golf Course. Winter rates just $35. Eagle Crest Golf Course, Highway 64, just east of Alma.
Miss Anna's on Towson is quickly becoming one of Fort Smith's favorite haunts. We're now serving breakfast from 6 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Blue Plate specials served Monday through Friday. And don't forget about 99-cent Pie Tuesday. So whether you're craving some of our great kickin' chicken or one of our world-famous desserts, Miss Anna's is the place to be. 5001 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith, 649-6300. That's 649-6300.
Metal Direct offers high-quality prefabricated metal buildings, metal roofing, custom trim shops, carports, and more. They strive to be a company where contractors as well as do-it-yourselfers are welcome. Metal Direct assists you in calculating the materials needed to complete your project, all at a rate you can afford. Stop by their location at 7420 Enmar Drive in Little Rock, one block off University behind Napa Auto Parts, or call them at 501-562-3112. Metal Direct, the right material for the right price.
Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for all repairs. Paintless Dent Repair, door dings, unsightly dents, and hail damage repair, all repaired to like new conditions. With over 1 million repaired vehicles with satisfied customers, Michael Littleton is the expert in paintless repair. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair, conveniently located 3 miles from the Arcoma exit off Highway 112. Or call 479-461-9764. Your #1 Arkansas fan.
Make Awake Boat Sales and Service is not only where you can get your next Yamaha or Skeeter boat, they also carry a huge selection of bait and tackle. Find whatever floats your boat at Make Awake Bait and Tackle. They carry tons of top brand lines of rods and reels and everything you need to gear up your tackle box, from Strike King, Kitech, and Zoom to Sunline and War Eagle products. Make finding your next Yamaha or Skeeter boat an easy catch with Make Awake Boat Sales and Service in Van Buren, 4806 Alma Highway in Van Buren, and MakeAwakeBoats.com.
We can all use extra table space for holiday dinners. Stop in at Metters Lumber True Value for the 6-foot deluxe folding table at just $34.99. It's lightweight and easy to carry. It folds in half for easy storage and has a top that won't chip, peel, or stain. For extra seating, pick up one or more all-steel folding chairs too. Just $13.99 each. Head over to Metters Lumber True Value for these bargains of the month and other great deals while supplies last.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Davis, first down, a bunch more. Here's one of those types of scores as he'll take it the distance. Touchdown, Arkansas. 62 yards.
877-377-6963. Cherokee Casino Hotline. Be a part of the show. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson, halftime on ESPN Arkansas. Tanner in Tupelo had texted to us a few minutes ago regarding the excitement and energy of Eric Musselman. He reminded us of the moment that Frank Haith came at Mike Anderson, wanted to fight him, and Coach A stood there and grinned at him, which was in Tanner's estimation, and I think a lot of estimations, a pretty classy response. And one way to piss off somebody that's coming at you sometimes is to show no emotion whatsoever, and that gets them even more animated. But he wanted to do what would Musselman do in that situation? And Ty, I think you gave him the exact correct answer.
I think he'd get up in his face and give it to him a little bit. And I loved Mike Anderson's response. I've watched that clip on War Machine over and over again because Mike just kind of smiles at him and shrugs it off because he know if Frank Haith tried to do anything against him, Mike would take him down so quickly, so fast. It would be all over social media. I wish we could have seen a Frank Haith Mike Anderson fight, but I think based on the emotions we've seen now, I've never seen Musselman get up in anyone's face except his own players. Maybe there's a highlight or clip I haven't seen, or any other coaches for that matter, because I think he's pretty well respected in the coaching areas. But I think fans, like if Cal and Muss started chirping a little bit Saturday, January 18th, man, I'm telling you, fans would eat that up. They'd be like, if they didn't think they were bought in before on him, they'd be like, this is our guy. We hate Cal. This is our guy. I'm in. That would be the entire response from the fan base, Phil.
You know, and it was pretty obvious. Another contrast between Eric Musselman and Mike Anderson is the way they dress. You know, Coach A, to the nines. Always had the pocket square just done perfectly, matched everything else. Always had a nice, crisp suit. I don't know if there was another college basketball coach that was as well-dressed, or still is, as well-dressed as Mike Anderson. And it's not that Eric Musselman is poorly dressed. He's no schlub, but he's not a suit wearer. He wore, and the entire coaching staff wore the exact same, I was going to call it an outfit, but to them I guess it's a uniform because they're all wearing the exact same color pants and the exact same Razorback polo. So it's pretty rare, I think, unless you're playing in the Maui Invitational or somewhere in the Bahamas where coaches will wear flowery shirts and stuff like that. But it's pretty rare that, unless you wear like the Bobby Knight sweater or what like Rick Majerus wore the sweater, the polo seems a little bit right. It seems a little bit like dressing down. I don't mean that in a bad way at all. Because Musselman looks like a basketball coach, but that's one area that you could just look at them and say, well, that's a difference too.
Let me tell you something about Hog fans. If Eric Musselman decided he was going to be wearing nothing but a cup and boxers and he won basketball games, they wouldn't care. That is, I think
they might like him even more if all he wore was boxers to the game.
100%. And one of my favorite parts of the Mike Anderson era, whether it was at Missouri or Arkansas, is when you knew he got mad, he'd take off his jacket and throw it. I think Mike Daniels was one of the old assistant coaches, or at least on the staff to a certain point, and you knew that Mike was hot at that point, whether it was at a player, a ref, or the opposing coach. That's when you knew tensions were starting to escalate a little bit. But I think just the emotional side of Eric Musselman, whether it was getting fans hyped up before the game when he walked outside and started to get them hyped up during the game, after the game, you and I were sitting next to each other, and you brought up to the fact to me that Muss made a point. Like, he pointed his team, we're going to the student section. We're going to the fans. We're making sure that they are congratulated for coming to the game so they can congratulate us on winning the game. And you needed to develop a rapport. What Muss has been able to do since arriving at Arkansas is develop a cohesive relationship with a number of different players who at the times, and probably still do, have good relationships with Mike Anderson. And he's not trying to burn that bridge, but what he's trying to do is, if he truly wants to get this era started at Arkansas basketball like Mitty wanted him to and have great success, you have to build relationships. Former players, former coaches, current fans, young, old, it doesn't matter. And so far, it seems like he's done a pretty good job of that in person and on social media as well.
Well, he certainly got Mason Jones to buy in. Mason in the post-game conference was talking about how Eric Musselman told him he didn't see him play defense with intensity from start to finish for any game. And so that he said that got to him, and that's why he played with that sort of energy all throughout the game. And, of course, it's one game. That's the thing we've got to take from this. If we've got to pump the brakes just for a minute, it's Rice. I don't know how good Rice is. They don't have much height, and it is the first game of the season. So, well, I guess, and the other thing about it, you got a week before the next game, and that's a pretty length. It's not a layoff, but it's a long time between your first and second game. So we'll see next Tuesday when the Mean Green of North Texas come in if Arkansas can continue to look like the same team they looked like yesterday against Rice.
So you mentioned
going to have a pretty big weekend, by the way, coming up, aren't we, Ty?
Oh,
in recruiting.
Yeah, it's a huge weekend in recruiting. Phil and I have talked about it a little bit, but there are a ton of potential kids that could be landing in Arkansas in-state. And I was actually looking back. So the comparison of the Fab Five, Moses Moody, Jalen Williams, Devontae Davis, KK Robinson, and Chris Moore, I was going back and looking at Michigan's Fab Five, recruited by Steve Fisher. And Jalen Rose, number 6 kid in that class. Jimmy King was number 9. Ray Jackson, 84. Chris Webber was the number 1 recruit. And Juwan Howard was number 3. That was a class that you've never seen in college basketball, with maybe the exception of Duke, who had Trey Jones, R.J. Barrett, Cam Reddish, and Zion Williamson. That was an incredible class that Mike Krzyzewski was able to put together. But for Arkansas to get the potential of 5 in-state kids that want to, potentially you've heard, want to play together. And what's so unique about that, Jalen Williams plays center, Moses Moody plays shooting forward, Chris Moore plays power forward, KK and Devontae are combo guards. So it's kind of a nice little fit. Phil, to you, if this were to happen, and some people think it will, some people think it won't, what's the best Arkansas moment that you've had since this, if this actually transpires and take place in a couple weeks?
Well, I'm not sure exactly how to answer that, because it's a moment that just that doesn't take place on the court or on the field. You know, I mean, there's nothing necessarily concrete that you can take from the 5 players coming in, other than the thought that the best players inside the state now, you know, are finally just looking at Arkansas specifically, other than somewhere else. I don't know if there's a moment that I could point to that I would think of if something like that happened. It's just because it's not a gray area, but recruiting sometimes goes one way and or the other. So it would provide a lot of optimism around a program that already has some optimism around it. So I'm not quite sure how to or what to compare if these 5 players do decide to go to Arkansas. But would it be a disappointment if only 4 of the 5 decide to come to Arkansas? Because I know is it Chris Moore? Moore is looking pretty heavily at Memphis.
And
right now a lot of the crystal balls have been projecting him to go to play for the Tigers rather than the Hogs. 4 out of 5 is 80%. That's not bad. Even if you're shooting free throws, that's pretty darn good.
I think if you look at recruiting wise, when Ryan Mallett decided he was going to transfer from Michigan, picked Arkansas, grew up a fan, was in Texarkana, and then the Mitch Mustain situation, higher-ranked quarterback, ended up going to Fayetteville. You could also bring up Mitch Mustain when him, Damian Williams, and Ben Cleveland decided they wanted to go to Arkansas. Basketball-wise, it's Corliss Williamson, it's the Scotty Thurman. You could even say Barford and Macon, when you had them in the JUCO ranks being as high as they were ranked, decided to be an Arkansas Razorback. Baseball, you're going to have to help me out on this. I know this upcoming class is apparently supposed to be like top 3 according to Perfect Game. Is there a baseball recruit or a baseball class in particular the last 5 or so years, Phil, that stands out to you just being one of Dave Van Horn's best?
Well, it's the one that's coming up for the 2020 class. Not this season, but the one that's coming up in the future. But, of course, it's different because any good recruiting class can get decimated by the Major League Baseball draft and the money that gets involved in that. But what it does tell you is that you have momentum, you know, for a program moving forward. And that momentum's been in baseball for a long time now. And year after year, it seems the recruiting classes get better, and better.
Yeah.
You know, so if you show that sort of momentum at Arkansas, and in today's day and age of, 1 or 2 years at the most for some of the best players in the country, and this is something we'll get into later, by the way, if you want to talk 2 years, this might be Isaiah Joe's last year at Arkansas. Very well should be. So you got to keep that momentum moving forward. And if these 5 or just 4 of the players decide to choose Arkansas, there'll be some others that are looking to Arkansas as a place to be, where the top players in the country can go to be on the spotlight of the SEC and be viewed by the NBA scouts and those who are going to be making the decisions as to who plays at the next level.
Tanner in Tupelo texts in on the Cherokee Casino hotline. He says the Fab Five all coming would be the greatest thing since Qualls' dunk against Kentucky. And Nick Mason brought up, I thought, an excellent point on the Morning Rush. If you get 3, 4, 5 of these kids, what that does is, depending how the numbers shake out, you use these talented youngins as a recruiting tool for the next class. You stack a class. You stack players on top of each other, which he made a good point. You didn't really have that on Mike Anderson. You'd have a good class and a year or two dead period where you didn't get as many guys or you didn't get anyone worth a salt, and then it would just kind of even out a little bit. If Musk can continue, and you're not going to have 5 top 100 in-state kids like this 2020 class, but if he could stack players on top of players, that's going to make his job that much easier, Phil.
It would also show fans in the state of Arkansas that the best players, you actually might have that so-called fence around the state that we've heard about for such a long time. Well, that's hour number 1 of the books. Be a part of the show in the second hour, 877-377-6963, our Cherokee Casino hotline. Don't go anywhere. Halftime returns after this.
I'm Frank Mir, former UFC heavyweight champion. My career in the UFC was tough on my body. I was considering stem cell therapy, but now, thanks to water-soluble CBD from CBD American Shaman, my life is so much better. CBD American Shaman has a water-soluble product made with nanotechnology. The nanotech allows CBD oil to mix directly into the water in a cloud when other CBD oil would just float on the top of the water. American Shaman doesn't make claims. Their customers do. CBD American Shaman, a CBD like no other.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and BF Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and BF Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, BF Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
Do you hear that Coors Light being poured? It's the perfect temperature. How can I tell just based on the sound? I can't. But I can see that the mountain on the can is blue. And when the mountain is blue, your Coors Light is perfectly cold. Coors Light is cold lagered for a crisper taste, cold filtered for brightness and clarity, and cold packaged for peak refreshment. Doesn't that sound good? 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Clear to partly cloudy tonight. An overnight low will drop down in the low to mid 40s. We could see just a chance of a few showers as we head through Wednesday. Our high temperatures will be on their way to the upper 50s to low 60s. Rain with a few rumbles of thunder Wednesday night, and we could see showers and a few thunderstorms again on Thursday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by OG&E Weatherization Program for Arkansas customers with homes at least 10 years old. Call 1-800-272-9741 for details or log on at OGE.com.
I hate everything you just said. KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bush and Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
They're hilarious.
Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
on your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, man, Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown.
How about that Heisman, Mark Jones?
How do you like it?
Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
There it is.
You hear that sound? You hear that sound? That is the sound of a box score of 7 pages being crumpled up and thrown into the garbage. So enough with Arkansas, Mississippi State. I felt like we, touched on everything we needed to for the first 2 days of this week. And move on to Arkansas, Western Kentucky, which I think we'll get into a little bit later on in the week, Thursday and Friday. We've been talking a little more Arkansas basketball here on Halftime today. You know why? Because we would just rather be happier. It's a much happier topic to be discussing right now than the state of Arkansas football. And did we get into this a little bit yesterday, Ty? One of the exciting things we were looking forward to about attending yesterday's opener was the looks on people's faces. And it wasn't just just the fans. It was the media members, the people that we associate ourselves with on this show, the ones who are deep in the weeds, knee deep in the crap of what Arkansas football has been like this year. And that's why when you came up with the one word, relief, that's what I saw in the media's eyes yesterday, in writers, broadcasters, anchors that were in attendance in the media seats, because they just are sick and tired of having to cover Arkansas football right now. Now, fans can be apathetic if you want to be. You don't have to pay attention if you don't want to. You don't have to go to the games if you don't want to. You don't have to watch if you don't want to. But if it's your job to report on these teams, if you're paid to watch every game and then give your opinions on it, then you have no choice. And I don't think there's anybody in the media who has taken an ounce of joy, not 1 ounce of joy, in covering Arkansas football right now. So that I think they were just.
You're sure that's not anybody? There's not one person that's reveling in the team sucking. You sure?
Maybe there's a couple. I don't know if there's a couple that are sticking at the top of my mind right now, but maybe they'll be later on this very radio station at 3:00. But it's it gets difficult to be around constant losing. So, and again, if you don't want to be a part of it and you have another job where you don't have to worry about these things, then you don't have to pay attention to it. You can get lost in any of the other things that life has to offer. But when it's your job to do it, you have no choice. So I think that's why relief, to me, described what the media looked like yesterday more than anything else. And yes, I mean, fans would like to have wins to pay attention to, and they would like to have teams to pay attention to. So I think the word relief was very well said, Ty. So one of the big moments of yesterday's game, and be a part of the show, by the way, 877-377-6963, Cherokee Casino Hotline. We continue to talk Arkansas basketball. Isaiah Joe, 24 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds, only 1 personal foul in 38 minutes of play. Pardon me, I'm looking at 32 minutes of play. He was plus 38 on the floor. But it was the thunder dunk that stands out amongst all of the other plays.
There's got to be some backside help there for Arkansas.
That's Isaiah Joe flying to the basket for a flush.
I don't know if we've seen that out of Isaiah Joe. That's a nice
left-handed dunk.
Yeah.
It was funny.
It's Brett Dolan and Kiko Hadar on the call. And by the way, Kiko, no, you didn't see that from Isaiah Joe last year.
Yeah, Brett kind of got confused. He started to say Adrio Bailey because that would be something you'd expect Adrio to do. But like Isaiah and Mason touched on the press conference after, you're going to see more dunking from us this year. That was just something you didn't see from Isaiah Joe. And we've talked about a number of different NBA draft guys revel in his three-point shooting ability, but he has to improve his pull-up game and just ability to get to the basket. Well, Phil, I know it was against Rice. I know it's just the first game of the season, but we saw a little taste of that last night.
Well, the aggressive baseline drive was beautiful. The ability to get up and finish at the rim with authority is also another thing. Left-handed is another thing. He showed the spot up, Jay. He showed the pull-up. He showed the ability to run the floor. So Isaiah Joe isn't just a three-point shooter, although there really aren't many players across the country in college basketball that can do it any better than him. But, with his ability to shoot so quickly and now with what looks like an added aggression towards the rim, he could be one of the premier scorers. I don't think just in the SEC, but in the nation. And part of the question here is, and this is one of the things about last night's game that was so nice. Kevin McPherson brought this up, and you pointed on it in the first segment. To have Joe and Mason Jones together score over 20. Isaiah Joe should be the leading scorer for Arkansas this year. But you got to have somebody that's also that can also score in multiple ways to give Isaiah the room that he'll need. And really what it looks like this team will be based upon, what is must say, pace and space. He needs that space and not have, two sets of eyes on him at the same time. If Mason Jones, and here was one of the things about Mason last year, he was awfully inconsistent. And, Joe, and he was inconsistent during the two exhibition games, as Isaiah Joe was. I mean, Joe had a game where he didn't hit a three-pointer, and I think finished with 4 points in the second exhibition. To be able to have, if Mason Jones can, look, you don't need 32 points from Mason Jones every time out, but if he can give you, 18 to 22 here and there, make sure he's always around 15, be a threat, not an open hole, that's going to give Isaiah Joe more opportunity to do what we saw yesterday.
And I think Muss brought up a good point in the press conference talking about positionless basketball. We've heard the term pace and space. He's used that several times. And he's also talked about positionless basketball. When I watched his team at Nevada, in Nashville, Cody, Caleb Martin, Caroline, he had a bunch of guys that would bring the ball up the floor, run point forward, run point guard, bunch of guys that can shoot. Here's what he had to say about Isaiah Joe, not only playing shooting guard, power forward, and point guard last night.
I looked up at one point, Isaiah Joe was at the power forward spot, and then towards the end of the game, his last segment in, he was playing point guard. So he went anywhere from the 1 to the 4. From a versatility standpoint, our guys have done a really good job of learning multiple positions.
Phil, that's going to be huge for this basketball team, considering there's not a lot of depth right now with the suspension of Reggie Chaney, with Connor Vanover not getting cleared by the NCAA, with the lack of size that they're going to have to rotate and move and really ball up against certain defenders, certain bigger guys. They have to be able to do that. And what that allows you to do on the offensive end is, yes, you're at a disadvantage on defense when you're playing against bigger teams. But the opposing team is at a disadvantage on defense when you have a bunch of quick guard-like forwards that can play a bunch of different positions and shoot the basketball. I know Jimmy's not the best shooter, but you have guys that can stretch the floor like an Isaiah Joe, like a Desi Sills, like a Mason Jones. Jalen Harris. There's a stat.
What did you just say? Jalen Harris to stretch the floor?
Yeah, Jalen Harris. And this was the quote that we were talking about earlier. Breakfast Club, Phil. Breakfast Club.
2 words. You ready? 2 words? Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club.
That's all you got to say on Jalen Harris. He's been in there every morning, 6 a.m., getting shots up. And it showed today. He looked way confident. You see him looking for his shot more that Coach Musselman put on him. So adding more scoring from Jalen is going to help us in the SEC, and he knows that, and our team knows it. So it was so good to see him having fun.
Phil, I had a source tell me yesterday that Jalen Harris is only second to Isaiah Joe in shooting in practice. They have GAs that calculate every single shot attempt during shell and practice like that. That's amazing that Jalen Harris has improved that much from season 1 to season 2 at Arkansas in terms of shooting the rock.
We got a text in from Russ in Jonesboro asking if Mike Anderson's St. John's Red Storm played last night. They did not. They opened the season today, 5:30 at Carnesecca Arena in Queens, New York. as an 11-point favorite against the Mercer Bears. So the Mike Anderson era at St. John's is about to begin. Halftime brought to you by our friends at Breeden RV in Van Buren. The year-end clearance sale continues. Great deals on new RVs with travel trailers at $99.95 and fifth wheels under $30,000. Plus, Breeden RV gives all new customers maintenance for life for free. They're the only dealer that does that, too. Great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. That's Breeden RV in Van Buren. BreedenRVs.com for more info. 877-377-6963. The Cherokee Casino Hotline. Halftime continues after this.
Listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Ty Sports Radio. This is the Morning Rush.
The lines are getting ridiculous in the bathroom. And, you know, people who don't want to spend money on water, they go in and refill their cups inside of the sink. And it's tap water.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help out the people out there in the
I'm not refilling my water bottle in the bathroom sink at the stadium. I'm sorry. No.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
When was the last time you looked forward to seeing the dentist? Well, if it's been a while or you haven't had the best of experience with dentistry, meet Marcy Van Ash McKinney in Family Dentistry. They take care of it all. Crowns, bonding, dentures, bleaching, and cosmetic dentistry. They even offer oral consciousness sedation available for your comfort. That's Marcy Van Ash McKinney Family Dentistry at 807 South 21st. Call for an appointment today, 494-7600. That's 494-7600.
B&J Comfort Solutions provides home comfort and energy solutions to the River Valley, specializing in residential sales, service, and installation, offering only the absolute best customer service around. Call them for any of your service, maintenance, or replacement needs. B&J Comfort Solutions offer an industry-leading 5-year labor warranty on all new system installations. Veteran-owned and operated, and satisfaction is always guaranteed. Contact B&J Comfort Solutions today at 479-646-0284.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and B.F. Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and B.F. Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, B.F. Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
Joe's Grilling Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half price. And all beers on tap are half price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grilling Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for all repairs. Paintless Dent Repair, door dings, unsightly dents, and hail damage repair, all repaired to like new conditions. With over 1 million repaired vehicles with satisfied customers, Michael Littleton is the expert in paintless repair. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair, conveniently located 3 miles from the Arcoma exit off Highway 112. Or call 479-461-9764. Your number one Arkansas fan.
You've worked hard your whole life anticipating the day you could finally retire. If that day is near, there are 5 things you need to do. Spend wisely, understand your retirement plan distribution options, plan for your required minimum distributions, know your Social Security options, and consider phasing. Call Brad Lewis at United Financial Advisors to discuss these steps in detail at 242-7466 or through our website at ufadvisors.net.
Securities and advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates, member FINRA SIPC. United Financial Advisors is a marketing destination.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Back to pass, Grovey. Quarterback draw. He's got a hole. He may go. He's at the 5. Touchdown, Arkansas.
And I'm doing the show today inside Zach Arns' office up here in Springdale. Arns and Ruskin will be getting going at 3 o'clock. I was talking some smack with him while we were hanging out. You know, we've got this challenge, which I guess has become not official yet, but I don't see either one of us backing out of this. I will strike him out. He's threatening to hit a 450-foot home run against me. I told him, I think you're meaning more like 450 inches. I think is how far you're going to hit the ball.
I'll be there to watch. We still need to figure out what me and Ruskin are going to be doing. If Ruskin's going to be the ump, and if I'm going to be the catcher, how that's going to. Oh, you got the ball.
Well, this is a Texas League ball that seems waterlogged. Must have been from a Naturals game. It's got a couple of autographs on it. He's nowhere near the office. I could walk out of this office with anything that I wanted. All of his Notre Dame stuff, all of the old equipment, his book. He's got the Godfather book, written by Mario Puzo in here. A bunch of I could rifle through his desk and just read it all on the air. That is a very trusting thing to do, to let somebody who you've met. I think Zach and me have met like 3 times. We've texted quite a bit in the last few months as Zach got on the Ruskin, but we've only met like 3 times, and he lets me sit in his office to do the show. I mean, that is some some trustworthiness. I don't know if I deserve it.
I can speak to your integrity and all the stuff that comes with you being you, Phil. I'll vouch for you, man. I think your character is unblemished and untouchable at this point.
Don't forget, like what the Wolf said in Pulp Fiction, just because you are a character doesn't mean that you have character. Speaking of character, I don't know if Arkansas's Razorback Foundation is pleased with the character of former head coach Brett Bielema. This buyout issue seems like it is blowing up, and some of the information that we had thought was true turns out not to be true. Wally Hall wrote about it in the Democrat Gazette today, and apparently now the Razorback Foundation wants every dollar they have paid to him in the buyout, which is at $4.2 million. They want it all repaid, and the thought here is that Bielema never really held up his end of the buyout, in which he had to, and this is right from the contract, diligently seek and obtain other employment of the same or similar nature, provide a written summary to the Razorback Foundation of his efforts to find other employment twice a year, notify the foundation in writing of other employment obtained and income received, and use best efforts to maximize earning potential with any new employer. So the first thing you look at here on the dots, on the bullet points, is diligently seek and obtain other employment of the same or similar nature. To me, I mean, that's being a football coach. But I think the way that the foundation is looking at it, of the same or similar nature, is college head coaching positions, which apparently Bielema was not very interested in going after this buyout. What did he do? He went and worked for a year as an unpaid volunteer for Bill Belichick, who, by the way, he shares the same agent with, and didn't get paid a dime for it. So now he is, defensive line coach for the Patriots?
Correct. Making
$150,000.
Mm-hmm.
All this time, we'd been informed that the contract had stated that he could make anything up to $50,000 and still be paid his buyout terms. It turns out that it's $150,000, which is exactly what he's making right now as the Patriots defensive line coach. And according to the column that Wally wrote, and I'll be honest, I don't know what NFL assistants make on average, but apparently $150,000 for a defensive line coach is fairly below market value.
That seems low to me. And again, I'm with you. I have no idea the salaries for different NFL assistant head coaches across the board, but just hearing that firsthand, that seems low to me.
It does seem low. And it seems for a coach who's working for a coach that shares the same agent, They know exactly what it is that they're doing. So the Razorback Foundation has hired Marshall Nee from the Rogers office of Friday, Eldridge, and Clark. And it's funny how the way Wally put this, he makes it like a David versus Goliath thing. The Friday firm has 89 attorneys in 3 offices, all in Arkansas. Bielema is represented by a firm named McGuire Woods, which has 917 partners. And they have associates all across the country, plus they have 21 offices in all of the major cities in the United States, plus London and Shanghai. So this is it's a behemoth law firm. But the thing about this is, if this does go to court, then it's going to go to court in Washington County, Arkansas. So it will take place where the Razorback Foundation is headquartered. So and at this point, I mean, you wouldn't expect Brett Bielema to give back the $4.2 million. Maybe not. I wouldn't expect that'll be the case. This is probably going to end up in court. It is not going to be very pretty. And the Razorback Foundation, in the end, may be on the hook for the entire buyout, which, if I remember, was $11.9 million or something close to that.
I think it's close to that. And so here, according to Wally Hall's article, is what Bielema needs to require, and he's showing that he's breached the agreement, and this is what he's required to. He has to show that diligently seek and obtain other employment of the same or similar nature. He has to provide a written summary to the Razorback Foundation of his efforts to find other employment twice a year. He's got to notify the foundation in writing of other employment obtained and income received, and use his best efforts to maximize earning potential with any new employer. So we've talked a lot about Morris's buyout, Phil. That's been the main conversation with fans calling in, pay him his money, pay him his $12 million, or pay him his $9 million after December 31st, and call it quits, and on and on and on. But you always have to factor in, you got to factor in actually 2 more things. One, Brett Bielema's buyout, what ends up happening here, and this could be dragged on. I don't know the court of law. My court of law expertise goes through Suits, a TV show. That's about it. And then you also have to factor the potential buyout that if you do end up firing Morris, the buyout you're going to have to pay to get the next coach that you're bringing in. There's a lot of different buyouts in play. Bielema's, Morris, and the next potential head coach if a change is made at the end of this year or some point of the season. It's a lot of money, Phil. And again, we don't know the totals of the Razorback Foundation. I don't have Scott Verity's number on speed dial asking him. He can't give me an exact number. So we don't know the finances of the foundation. You also got to think about no longer tax deductible. The team sucked the last couple years. There's not as many fans attending college football games. There's a lot of things going against Arkansas right now rather than for the Razorback football program.
Well, and perhaps Brett Bielema is following the buyout to the letter. I think part of this will come to, did he really seek other employment of the same nature he had at Arkansas? And is a move to the NFL as a defensive line coach the same thing? He's, remember, twice a year supposed to show evidence or documentation of the job search. And Wally pointed out to 10 coaching job openings that Bielema could have gone after in Division I college football, FBS programs, and was never really, you never heard his name thrown around as a candidate for these jobs. And it just seemed like he might not have been interested in being a head football coach in college any longer. And maybe one of the reasons why is that he had this gravy train buyout ready to go, and an agent who also had a head coach who is the greatest head coach in the history of the NFL, and was willing to bring him in. We already know that Bielema's got not Bielema, but Belichick has a little bit of an affinity for players from Arkansas, or maybe the state itself, and it seemed that he was willing to help Bielema out and get a free assistant, not a free assistant, but a free ear to throw ideas into, and then change him to a defensive line coach, which it seems, Bielema to me is made to be a line coach of some sort in the NFL. I think he knows how to coach that position for grown men. It seems like it's a good fit. but it also seems that the system is being played by a team of people who know how to play systems pretty easily.
I'm really wondering how long this will take. Like, again, court proceedings, I'm not in depth. I didn't go to law school. I wasn't smart enough. I like to argue. That's why I got into sports radio instead of going to law school. But how long does this take? Does it draw out? Does it go on? Is it a couple years, couple months? How long are they going to deal with this method? And then at the end, what's the conclusion? Does Brett Bielema and his group win? Does the Arkansas or the Razorback Foundation win? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and I don't think we're going to get answers anytime soon, Phil.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is the kind of thing that can drag on for quite a while, and maybe the next time I see Mary Heather and the Sinners at JJ's in Fayetteville, we'll ask T. Scott Verity what he thinks about this, because this is an interesting guy. Scott Verity, a trained attorney, runs the Razorback Foundation, and is a pretty good drummer in a popular band.
From Little Rock. Went to Little Rock Catholic, baby.
From the 501. It's halftime here on ESPN Arkansas. 877-377-6963 to be a part of the show. We're going to talk with Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio in the very next segment. We are live online on hitthatline.com. You can also see us. Ty, tell them every place you can see our video streams, because I shaved for the very reason
there you go.
Why we are on these streams.
Phil's on Skype now. We got Periscope, we got YouTube, we got Facebook, a variety of different ways that you can see Phil and I's pretty faces.
All right, we'll see how pretty it is with Bill King next, so stay tuned.
Shooters shoot. You're listening to Halftime.
What it's doing to me ain't a secret.
Great camping weather is just around the corner, so at Breeden RV in Van Buren, we're having our year-end clearance sale right now. Get great deals on new RVs like travel trailers that start at $99.95 and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives our new customers maintenance for life for free. We also have a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Now is the time to camp, and now is the time to let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you just how easy it can be. Breeden RV, your home for maintenance for life.
Oh, that's an RV.
This is Mark Hurst. Late fall and early winter are my favorite times of the year. High school football playoffs, time spent with my sons at deer camping in the duck blind, and the holiday season begins. November and December are also great times to take advantage of any remaining dental insurance benefits before the first of the year. Give us a call today at 474-1972 and let us help you maximize your remaining insurance benefits. Or if you don't have dental insurance, ask about our dental discount plan. Hurst Family Dental Care, a name you know and a name you can trust.
Barley is the soul of Budweiser. That's why we've been working with the same family-owned American farms for more than 50 years to harvest it. The secrets to growing this grain perfectly have been passed down through 3 generations. For them, it's a legacy. And it's why only the best barley and locally sourced ingredients are used to make Budweiser. Budweiser is proudly raised across America. This Bud's from our barley farmers. This Bud's for you. Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative is excited to introduce Wave Rural Connect, bringing state-of-the-art fiber internet, TV, and phone services right into the homes of all their members. Get amazing fast fiber internet 100 megabits for only $49.95 per month, or 1 gigabit for $79.95 per month. Go to waveruralconnect.com to find out where they're installing in your area, or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
We can all use extra table space for holiday dinners. Stop at a Metters Lumber True Value for the 6-foot deluxe folding table at just $34.99. It's lightweight and easy to carry. It folds in half for easy storage and has a top that won't chip, peel, or stain. For extra seating, pick up 1 or more all-steel folding chairs too, just $13.99 each. Head over to Metters Lumber True Value for these bargains of the month and other great deals while supplies last.
It's football season and the right play is at Hertz Car Sales, 2810 Midland Boulevard. Their business is quality used cars at a great price with their #1 goal of passing the savings on to you. The latest makes and models, low mileage vehicles with an overall experience that can't be matched. Make the short drive to 2810 Midland Boulevard today and find that there's no better way to buy your next vehicle. Call them today at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromhertz.com. Hertz Car Sales. What are you waiting for?
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
And off Hillis. Peyton Hillis being chased but will not be caught. 65-yard touchdown.
Let's go to the Cherokee Casino Hotline, talk with Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio, the king of college football talk. Bill, I can imagine going up to the playoff committee's poll being released yesterday that you were there rolling your eyes, wishing for the good old days of the BCS. So what's it like for you the day leading up to the first poll being released?
Well, you're assuming I even thought about it that day or even knew it was being released. I knew it, but my day's so busy, I'd forgotten about it. And then I was kind of on Twitter, and everybody was anticipating it. And I wasn't even going to watch it. I think the show was terrible. But they were in the Garden, a couple of good basketball games on. Obviously, Kentucky game was about to come on. And so I actually watched some of it. And I'm a big fan of Herbie. I do like Herbie. So it was all good, man. And the first release is not worth huffing and puffing about because the first four teams are going to have to play each other in some form or fashion.
It's a conversation starter more than anything. And it felt to me the fact that Ohio State, Penn State play, regular season, so does LSU, Alabama. If you go further down the poll, Oregon and Utah are probably going to face off in the Pac-12 championship. It's almost like the playoff committee wanted to make the feel like they were adding a layer of regular season playoffs to their playoff.
Yeah, I'll give you what I think is the number one topic right now. And again, all of these are what-ifs. Nothing's concrete. If Alabama loses a game, let's say, for example, they lose the LSU game, it's close. I don't think they will, but what if? There's a line of thinking that they're out because their schedule isn't going to match up. My contention is Alabama is the number one team in America that gets the benefit of the doubt every year. And I think that's earned. I'm not complaining about it. A lot of other people do complain about it. But there's a theory. Herb Street said last night, Alabama loses, and he did not define close or one-sided. He said if they lose, he thinks they're eliminated. I'm not quite there yet.
Do you put LSU in the same category as you do Alabama? Would the one loss perhaps, in some people's eyes, eliminate them?
I think Alabama gets more benefit of the doubt than LSU. I don't think they're totally eliminated. No. I think they're still – now, it's got to be a close loss, and Alabama's got to win out, which would include Georgia in the SEC championship game. Let's say Clemson's undefeated, Ohio State's undefeated, and nobody from the Big 12 or out west looks worthy. Then you could have an LSU. I don't think politically, though, the committee will add another SEC team if there's a one-loss Pac-12 team sitting out there, perhaps, or a Big 12 team. Let's say Oklahoma looks good the rest of the way, or maybe Baylor or whoever. I don't know if politically they will allow that.
We're talking with Bill Keene, Nashville Sports Radio, on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Bill, big game in Minneapolis this weekend. Minnesota Gophers, PJ Flex got them rolling undefeated, taking on James Franklin's Penn State. Is there any chance that Minnesota could pull off the massive upset this weekend?
A chance, yes. I tell you what, this is a really good Penn State team. I think this team is more athletic than the team a couple of years ago. Now, they don't have Saquon Barkley. That's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But I think top to bottom, they've got a dominant wide receiver. Their defense is playing outstanding. Sean Clifford has come in and played wonderful at quarterback for them. They've got lots of weapons. They're very solid in the trenches. I don't think Minnesota wins this game, but Minnesota to date, now give them credit for being undefeated, but their schedule has been relatively nothing to date. We're about to find out over these next four games what they're about.
So, sticking in the Big Ten, you have a massive game next weekend as well, potentially, if Penn State were to go on and win this weekend. Ohio State, Penn State next weekend. I'm looking at those games down the stretch. Ohio State has to travel to the Big House. Which game do you think would be tougher for them, Bill? Ohio State taking on Penn State at home in Columbus, or them concluding their season in the Big House against a Michigan team that's lost a few games?
Boy, I think both are good games. I think Ohio State wins both games. Probably going to the Big House. Michigan, and they've teased this before, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
But they're rounding into shape right now. They have looked good since the second half of the Penn State game, where they should have tied it up there at the end. Blew out Notre Dame, took care of Maryland. Not going to give them all too much credit for that, but they took care of business. They returned the opening kick for a touchdown, and pretty much the route was on. They're starting to catch hold of what they are, and it's looking pretty good. Now, is it good enough to match weaponry with Ohio State? No, but it is in the Big House.
Bill, how much credit do you give to Ryan Day for how good Ohio State has been this year? And I wonder how you think his 3-game stint filling in as the interim head coach last year when Urban Meyer was suspended helped him this season.
It's a good question. I think he gets a lot of credit. Got to remember now, that defense was not anywhere near this defense. Ryan Day is an offensive guy. He went out and made some hires, got rid of some guys that probably weren't doing a good job there, and they are vastly improved defensively. They're maybe the most balanced defensive team in America if you look front to back, and they've got the most dominant player in Chase Young, and their offense is even better. And J.K. Dobbins is having a better year than he had a year ago. So they're more balanced in the running game, in my opinion, and passing game has been wonderful, and they've got just a plethora of wide receivers. I think one of the most overrated things that you'll hear from a critic is, well, look at the talent he inherited. Guys, you and I have seen lots of coaches screw up good talent. Just because you got good talent doesn't mean you just roll the ball out there and you're not responsible. It's not easy to win with real good talent either. You got to be good at what you do.
So let's talk on the other side of coaching. And with Willie Taggart being let go by Florida State and all the rumors already coming around about Urban Meyer and Bob Stoops, does this month, and I think their athletic director said he anticipates a hire by the end of the month, could this coaching search at Florida State mirror maybe what we saw from the soap opera from Tennessee from a couple of years ago? Maybe not to that degree, but it's like a program that isn't quite at the level they think they are, and it plays out through a coaching search.
I don't think anything ever matches the Tennessee cluster bleep of recent memory. But, well, first of all, Bob Stoops, Urban Meyer, you and I, guys, have just as good a shot as getting it, as having a decision to make. Those guys aren't going to take that job. They're going to have to look around. I think they ought to go after Lane Kiffin. I think Lane Kiffin's matured a lot. Now, apparently they're not interested in him. But he's not the spoiled brat he was. He's doing a good job down there at FAU. We know he's a really good offensive coach. He grew up with a defensive genius in Monty Kiffin. He can go hire people. He'll have a budget. But guys, I don't really know. PJ Fleck's not going to be available. He's got a new deal. They've got to come up with $18 million to pay off Willie Taggart, and then you've got to go fetch the new money for the new coach and the new staff. I don't know if they can get real sexy here, guys.
You know, we only have about a minute left here, and I think you've touched a little on the issues at Florida State's athletic department. Boosters are kind of spread out, not very happy. Issue with Tallahassee, perhaps. What is it about Florida State where, the football program was at such a high level for so many years, and maybe it really right now isn't what they think they is? What's going on at Florida State?
Yeah, I'll make it quick. They had an AD named Stan Wilcox. He and Jimbo Fisher didn't get along. Jimbo Fisher also didn't get along with the head of the Booster Club. He's been there about 30-something years, and is still there, but he's going to retire in about a year. The AD who didn't get along with Jimbo left for all the money, left right after he hired Willie Taggart, got the heck out of town, went to Indianapolis. He wasn't like much either, works for the NCAA. The new AD, who's an interim, is a guy named David Coburn, who has been a staff member there for 30-something years. They put him in there, guys, because they didn't have anybody else to put in, and right now they're not even looking for the new AD. Nobody likes the President Thrasher either. So it's a big cluster bleep. I'll use that term again there, and the leadership is all fractured. It's messy, guys.
Cluster bleep describes things very well. Also at Arkansas football, by the way.
And our show, too.
Something to get, our show every once in a while. Well said. Bill, it's always a pleasure talking with you. Thanks so much. We'll talk next week.
See you later.
Bill King is on the air 6 to 9. Nashville Sports Radio does a great job. He is the king of college football talk. So I was going to ask him, and maybe something to get into next week, like whose career imploded worse, Willie Taggart or Charlie Strong?
Well, Charlie Strong, I think, what is he, at South Florida? I think he's still doing, okay, but the Texas job just wasn't a good fit. I'd probably say Taggart. Taggart's, if you look at his record over the years, Phil, he has no reason to be getting the job that he's been getting. So it doesn't make any sense.
Well, you do have a reason to download our podcast. Comes out later on in the afternoon, about 2:30. It's brought to you by Jeff's Clubhouse. We're going to come back. We'll give a Change My Mind and a cherry on the top of halftime, so stay tuned.
When in doubt, expense it. You're listening to Halftime.
What do you get when you pull into Tony's Tire Service? You get the best selection of tires for any car, truck, or commercial vehicle. Tony's Tire Service has Cooper tires and is ready to serve you to get you back on the road safely. They'll also get your vehicle fixed with brake replacements plus an alignment with the best repair guy in the area. Tony's Tire Service has been serving the River Valley for over 34 years. Come let our guys replace your tires with Cooper tires and our service department to make sure the vehicle has the best brakes and alignments. Tony's Tire Service, 7200 South 28th Street in Fort Smith. Service you can depend on.
Is your home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, our crews will install measures that will save you money. The services provided through this program are absolutely free to qualifying homes. If you could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E at 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741.
Make Awake Boat Sales and Service is not only where you can get your next Yamaha or Skeeter boat, they also carry a huge selection of bait and tackle. Find whatever floats your boat at Make Awake Bait and Tackle. They carry tons of top brand lines of rods and reels and everything you need to gear up your tackle box, from Strike King, Kitech, and Zoom to Sunline and War Eagle products. Make finding your next Yamaha or Skeeter boat an easy catch with Make Awake Boat Sales and Service in Van Buren, 4806 Alma Highway in Van Buren, and MakeAwakeBoats.com.
Full-time farmers, hobby farmers, and landowners, your time is important. Make the most out of that time with a brand new Branson tractor from Bush Machine and Tractor in Fort Smith. With tractors from 19 to 105 horsepower, we have a tractor that will fit your needs. Ask Bush Machine and Tractor about their special financing options and free loader rebates. Bush Machine and Tractor in Fort Smith is Arkansas's #1 Branson dealer. Check their inventory at bushtractor.com.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Make a hot spring spa part of your day-to-day routine now and discover what it means to get more out of each day. Hi, Tommy Kraft for our good friends at Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale. Burton's is having an instant rebate event where you get $1,000 in instant rebate with the purchase of select hot springs models. Burton Pools and Spas is at 6121 Zero Street in Fort Smith and 725 South 48th Street in Springdale. Just imagine being able to come home from a hard day at work and to slip into your own hot spring spa from Burton Pools and Spas and let the stress of everyday life just slip away. And you're going to be totally impressed with all the features and options that are available on a hot spring spa. See it for yourself in Fort Smith or in Springdale and find out more about how you can get a $1,000 instant rebate with a purchase of a select hot spring spa today. That's Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale, or find out more online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
We did it again. Evans Body Shop has been voted the best independent collision repair shop in the River Valley for the second year in a row. None of it would have been possible without our top-notch crew and our customers, friends, and family that take their time to vote for us. We would like to say thank you. We are humbled by the continued loyalty and support from our community and staff and will continue to go above and beyond every day. Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren. Come by today and see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
At the end of the day, it's on the road in the SEC with a backup quarterback, and this running game with Darren McFadden is the real deal. The Hogs take it to Tennessee. I like Arkansas.
Cherry on the top of halftime, Phil Elson, Ty Richardson, 877-377-6963 if you want to be a part of Change My Mind. Ty, what was the biggest non-basketball related cheer that we saw yesterday at Bud Walton Arena? I'm quizzing you. You and I were sitting next to each other.
Biggest non-basketball related cheer? I would say
it's
it was
when Dave Van Horn was put on the video board.
Okay, I was going to say it was when Ty Stevens came in the game, but he was
that was basketball related.
Yeah, big.
How much of a bummer, though, Ty Stevens gets a chance to score with 0.6 seconds left, muff the free throw, unfortunately, after he was knocked to the floor in a highly insulting manner by one of the Rice Owls.
A little disappointed in Ty, but hopefully he'll respond.
I thought you would be more than anything because you've got a soft spot. Everybody's got a soft spot for the walk-ons. No more Johnny Buckets, though, unfortunately. You know, he would have been on the court. He would have been there.
I actually saw him on Dixon Street last week. So,
get an autograph?
I did not, no.
You should have. I know he's your favorite all-time Razorback.
Good dude.
Anyway, so Van Horn was in attendance yesterday, and they put him on the video board. He didn't know he was on the video board until his wife Karen elbowed him in the ribs and points up that he's there, and he waves hi to everybody and got a nice big ovation. So 100 days. Today is 100 days away from the start of Razorback baseball season. I was
Phil could barely contain himself.
I bumped into Hunter Yurachek yesterday before the start of the second half, and I reminded him exactly how many days it was until the start of baseball season, and he said, "Well, who's counting?" And I thought to myself, "Well, you probably would want to be counting that, being that that's your most popular and most winningest sport. Maybe not most popular, but most winningest sport." Women's basketball opening up 10:30 Friday. Chelsea Dungy is on the Naismith watch list now. That came out earlier during our show. One of 50 players that will be on the preseason watch list for top women's college basketball player. And we will get into what we will usually finish our show with on a Wednesday here as Ty and me try to change each other's mind.
I changed my mind.
Hi, Joey.
Hey, how you doing?
He won't sell anybody out to buy his future.
How can you be so obtuse? What did you call me? Obtuse? Is it deliberate?
Son, you're forgetting yourself.
Change my mind.
You know, one of the things, Ty, I really like about Arkansas basketball right now, they're really good on social media. We've seen that in many ways, but they're not slogan related. It's not this slogan and that slogan, this hashtag and that hashtag that they feel married to. So to me, it isn't really like a program. It's a program that is not built on social media. They're very good at it, but they don't throw around meaningless slogans as if they're trying to sell something to a fan base without showing real results of what those slogans are supposed to mean. And we've seen a lot of this, in the last few years. And it was, for Mike Anderson's basketball teams to promote themselves as the fastest 40 and the 40 minutes of hell, when you really weren't seeing that throughout these games. And look, Chad Morris and his staff, I'm sure, are tired of having hammer down and left lane and full tilt boogie thrown back in their faces on social media. But when you sell a program with those terms and you never see any of that, then you're getting your just desserts. Arkansas basketball right now has more hammer down, more left lane, more full tilt boogie, more fastest 40, and more 40 minutes of hell than any Arkansas football or basketball team in the previous 3 years. I know we got to pump the brakes because it's one game, and one game doesn't tell you what the rest of the season is going to look like. But if I'm going by that one game, there's more of all of these slogans in that one basketball game than we saw from the last 3 years from basketball and football. Change my mind.
So you're having me tone down my excitement for this basketball team, which I don't expect them to make the NCAA tournament. I expect them to compete but not make the NCAA tournament based on their clear lack of size. But what I will ask, who'd they beat last night, Phil?
Just the Rice Owls.
And who did Rice lose to earlier this year?
It was an exhibition game to a Division II team, like we pointed out yesterday.
And I feel like as the younger, the dumber one of this radio show sometimes has to break down the tensions and simmer people down a little bit, whether it's Arkansas football, certain freshman players coming in, whether it's this basketball team with a big win last night. What you saw last night was great. What they were able to do both offensively and defensively was awesome. But it was Rice. It was the Rice Owls. They do that when Kentucky comes into Baldwin Arena January 18th, then I'll rip my shirt off like Muss does and do the radio show shirtless like he does.
Hey, man, I'll take it next Tuesday against North Texas first. You want to see this. You want to see that sort of energy game after game. Nothing that's ever vanilla by design.
If they can start having consistency during conference play, I will happily hop on the Muss Bus, and I think he's done a tremendous job so far reaching the fan base, reaching former players, and reaching a solid recruiting base in a job that he had to play catch-up with a lot of different other college basketball coaches. But I don't want people to jump on board too quick because this is not a team that's going to go to like an Elite Eight or Sweet 16 or Final Four in Muss's first year. Now, that could maybe happen down the line. We don't know. We can't project the future. But you just can't get all hyped up based on one game, almost a meaningless game against Rice. I know that they would never say that, but even Mason Jones quoted after the press conference, we take this team seriously even though we were expected to win. I think the line was like 17.5 in favor of the Razorbacks, and I hate toning down the excitement for the basketball team, but this has changed my mind, so I got to do it, Phil.
Well, you got to at least give it a chance. So what did Arkansas basketball open with last year? A 73-71 loss to Texas, and so it's obviously a much better team there in the Texas Longhorns than you saw from the Rice Owls. I will say, not a good team. Rice doesn't look like a team that can shoot. Doesn't look like they got much size. They're going to have some issues moving forward. You want to go to the phone lines, or you want to do your change my mind, Ty?
Let's go to Robert, man.
Let's go to Robert in Fort Smith. He's dialed us up on the Cherokee Casino hotline. Robert, you got something for a change my mind, or are you talking? You trying to change my mind?
No, I'm not doing either. But I'm sorry, I'm going a different direction here. But with your €100 check as an AD, on a business decision and a coaching problem, you're losing money, and fans, like you had a fan yesterday that from the Southeast Arkansas, she told you she wasn't going to renew her ticket. If a bunch of people do that, where do you stand as an AD going, do I hire him back because I'm going to lose all this money on tickets, or do I give him a year because he hasn't had that much time? And that's a hard place to be, and I just want to see from coaching, or do you do it from business? And I just want to hear what y'all got to say about it.
Robert, I remember getting into this yesterday feeling that Arkansas, you feel, and I think this is why fans are so upset right now, not just the losing, but the feeling that there's almost no way out of it. If you get rid of the head coach, then potentially this great recruiting class that you have for this year that's on the team right now might follow him out the door. And the thought that, well, if you keep him, you may be losing donations. You may be losing a lot of season ticket holders. You will lose a lot of fans potentially and continue to lose a lot of games. So, I mean, it's in some cases it's 6 1/2 dozen the other, and you feel like you're screwed either way. I think that's exactly the situation that Hunter Yurachek is in.
We had a texter on the Cherokee Casino hotline ask us earlier. I'm forgetting on who it was, but he was asking about what the court situation with Brett Bielema and the Razorback Foundation, how will that affect Arkansas's football coaching search if that was to happen? And that's also a good point.
If you don't have to pay the buyout, then that money can go to another coach if you're willing to get rid of them.
But also think about it from this, for prospective coaches out there, if a change was to be made. If you see as a coach that a former coach at Arkansas got fired and they're not going to pay his buyout all the way, or whatever ends up happening, are you a little skeptical about taking the job? And are you skeptical of the fact that if Chad Morris is let go, that 2 years in, they fired a guy? There are so many different factors, so many different variables that have to be accounted for. It's not just as simple as Chad Morris is losing the games, fire him. There's finances. There's public perception. Then there's the fact that there's other coaching vacancies out there that no one in the state of Arkansas wants to admit are better destinations than Fayetteville. Period. End of story. Florida State, potentially USC. Heck, Notre Dame might fire Brian Kelly. Those are better spots than Arkansas. There is no argument to be made against that. Now, you can make a case for basketball, for baseball, but when it comes to college football, Phil, Arkansas is not a destination school. It hasn't been for quite some time. It's as simple as that. And people can get mad. They can text in. They can voice their disapproval saying, well, back in my day, well, it's not your day. It's 2019, and this program is not even close to what it used to be.
And it's not at the level of a lot of those programs that you're talking about. That's nothing I can change your mind about, Ty, because I think it's the absolute truth.
Mind, yeah.
That wasn't the one you planned on, but it's the one you're going to go with.
All right, I'll give Ruskin his due real quick. So I drove back from the basketball game last night, got in about 11, and I just sat there thinking to myself, how did Ruskin drive from Bentonville for however many years at 3:30 in the morning only to do the morning rush? I don't know if I'll ever understood that. That was unbelievable that he was able to do that for however many years.
Well, it helps if you're already normally grumpy and contrary to begin with, if you're hosting morning radio on short sleep. Tune in at 3 o'clock, by the way, here on ESPN Arkansas to hear Ruskin and the grumpiness. Good show today. Thanks to our callers and texters. We'll be with you tomorrow. For Ty, I'm Phil. Get up, get out, and get better.